Hello to my beautiful family of light. Yes, that means you. This is Claudia, and I'm happy to have you here. And believe me, you really are way more than you think you are, light being. I mentioned to you video before last and in the last video that I'm in Korea because of something in particular. I'm not just on a holiday. In fact, I came here to recoup, recover, and repair, and rest, because I was in bad need of a rest. So let's talk a little bit about that. I'm going to back up a little bit because in 2018, life took a big turn and many things began to happen. And by 2019, January exactly, I had a big chunk of my monetary resources stolen and never recovered. And because I had one of those little tags on my car ring, they were able at least to track it down, but then follow it. But because they didn't have time to get a warrant, they sent somebody to the house where everything was, and it had already been, they determined that it was probably a big ring that had done all that. Okay, well, that really disrupted my life. I never recovered from it. I wasn't able to, I tried to find work, but when you're an older person, it's not easy. And I thought they would recover it. So by the time we determined that they couldn't, it was really too late for me. The resources, what little I did have, I couldn't recover from. And then I had that whole year was me fighting off depression because 6 to 8 months, because you realize this isn't going well. It's not going to bid well for you. And so there's a lot of backstory to that, but let's work forward. Just so you know, my resources were gone. And at the time, I was fairly healthy, but also doing other things. So anyhow, I was writing my book and story at that time, and just thought that would suffice and that it would go, It's so hopeful. Okay, call me Pollyanna, Caraba. Okay, well, anyhow, by the end of 2019, I had to leave and was invited to a girlfriend's to go stay. And by the time I got to her place, I was physically, my body was injured. My mental state was as low as you can get. Well, it went lower. and that year, I just began sliding into depression. Now, I did work for 6 weeks, I think, during that year, and it was enough to give me a little bit, but not enough to sustain me to go get my own home. And it was also around that time that I was noticing things really going on. Now, I'm not a person who delves into politics, but I know what's right, what's wrong for me. And I don't think that I'm an exception. I think we all have an inner guidance system that helps us to know what we need to do. That is keeping on a path of goodness, kindness, generosity, working together, working really to help each other out and to be at peace and bring harmony and peace and joy and those kinds of things. And I managed to pretty much bluff my way through a good chunk of that. And then there were days I could not get out of bed, period. Could not. It's not fun. to not have money, to have them keep telling you, no, we're not, it's gone. You know, so much of it was liquid assets. And so that was just the way it was. And yes, I'm quite certain it was somebody that I knew that that did that. Okay, but they, you know, this now it's how many years later? This is over 6 years later. Okay, so let's go through 20 up to through 24. I was in depression, but I also was aware that something else was going on, and I did not know what that something else was. But every time I would want to, or you have thoughts when you're depressed that are not healthy. And every time I would dip into something like that, I could hear my guidance saying, Claudia, get up and go for a walk. And I would just pull the covers back up over my head. Or you know, and I ate soups. But 2-3 times a week, I managed to get up, go for a walk, take myself to a pretty place out in nature, and that would restore the balance. So that's an important clue for you, is nature helps to mimic the frequency we're supposed to operate at. Okay, now I'm gonna forge ahead. During that time, I had many memories of past harms, I'm going to say, perpetrated upon me. I was sexually abused. I had bones broken. I was verbally abused. I was denied things that other people in my family it was okay for them to do. But you know, I couldn't reconcile any of it. And by the time I was up in this age stage, so much had been shoved down in me so deep that I didn't even know what it was. It was all just a jumbled mess. Well, during this period of time from 2000 to the present, all of that started unraveling. Memories were surfacing, and I absolutely, with absolute clarity, understood it was my time to let my Creator, my guides and guardians, the healing angels, to take those and from me and create an empty vessel that could be filled with good stuff. And so that's what has gone on. Now, up to, and I'm gonna stop here for now. This is happening with you too. I'm just gonna stop my story, but for right now, this is happening with everybody. The frequencies on the planet are changing, and because we're energetic systems, things are coming out of us. There are things that need to be transformed, and the frequency that is higher up here, vibrational level, is goodness. It is smoothing out the ruffles. It's trying to get that stuff out of you. And all that time that I was experiencing, all these years that I've been experiencing these things, I knew I needed to let go of it and just allow whatever was taking place. My depression, my wanting to just stay in bed and sleep for a few days wasn't always depression. In fact, the last 2-3 years, less depression and mostly just, oh, that's what's going on now. Let it happen, let it happen. And so what I could tell you today, it's almost like the cells inside this body where all those old bad memories were stored were all cleaned out. Everything got scrubbed out. And so now I am, and it's been an ongoing process, so little by little, but it's happening for everybody on this planet. That's part of the evolution, part of the ascension process, and part of the new humans that we are becoming. I want to thank you for joining me here today. I've got more. We'll pick up where we left off here in the next video. I'm probably not going to be changing clothes, and so I hope you'll be okay with whatever I'm wearing because I want to keep this momentum going. So you know that the algorithm is all driven by like, subscribe, share, and I love it also when you comment. That gives me questions to answer. It gives me what you're struggling with. It can tell me that you're liking or I need to change change it up a little or whatever. And so please be sure and make some comments for me. And until the next video, remember, you are way more than you think you are. You're loved. So be well, be safe, and take care. See you at the next one.